Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is October 23rd, 2025, and welcome to the channel, Oscar's Corner. Again, thank you very much for pressing like, subscribing, and pressing play on the show. Let's kind of drive into it. Let me do my favorite spiel. Today is October 23rd, 2025. Damn it. That shit never gets old. It's probably gonna get old for you guys, but not for me. Anyway, let's dive right into the shenanigans of today. Well, hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Today is Thursday, and today's Thursday night football. But before I go into my typical rant and my other shenanigans, I would like to give a massive congratulations to my San Francisco freaking 49ers, who somehow continue to do it with no names, with nothing but rookies, and like, what the hell, dude? The fact that they are pulling these wins with literally nobody at all. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you can be the biggest Niner hater in the whole entire planet, but the fact that they're doing what they're doing with the squad that they got, I mean, shit, you got to give it props. So if I read out some names to my fans out there that do, in fact, listen to the San Francisco 49ers, if I named these folks, would you immediately know who they are? And let's keep it real, okay? So, without Googling shit, though. All right, here we go. The first one, Jair Brown, D. Winters, Diamador Lenore, Tayton Bethune, Darnell Luter Jr., Bryce Huff, Malik Mustafa, Sam Okianahu, Chase Lucas, Jason Pinnock, Kalia Davis, Marquez Siegel, and Renardo Green. I'm pretty confident out of all those names, you probably got about 25%. And that's if you are a frequent listener and you actually follow the team. It's going to be very difficult for you to even know who some of these players are. So let me give you the stat line, though. Remember how I mentioned last week when Mr. Fred Warner went down with the injury, and how we were going to be facing really challenging teams and challenging defense? I mean, shit, we faced Bijan Robinson, which is it's arguably one of the top running backs in this particular season in comparison to Jonathan Taylor, right? I mean, shit. I mean, I can say, who the hell is Tayton Bethune? But the guy had 10 tackles, 4 solo, 1 tackle for a loss, and he was just all over the place. And that's not even it. If you actually watch the game, you would see that this guy was all over the freaking place, dude. So, kudos to him. Kudos to Saleh. I mean, shit, we don't even know how long we're actually going to have Robert Saleh, because of the way that these guys are playing for him with this type of squad. It gives teams like, and I hate to say this because they're already struggling, like the Raiders, if the Pete Carroll experiment doesn't work out, it might be worth kind of kicking the tires on Robert Saleh, even though he had an unsuccessful season or a couple seasons with the Jets. He might eventually actually work out for you. So just give it some thought. It might be worth it. It might not. Again, I don't want Saleh to leave, but at the same time, I have to be realistic that when you do have some sort of type of talent, I mean, I don't see Kyle Shanahan being the type that says, nah, man, I'm not going to let you leave. When in reality, you can go and come and go as you please. And if you want to advance your career, which is what Mr. Robert Saleh is doing, I mean, shit. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. with the Jets. But then again, how many people have actually succeeded with the Jets? It's just a shit show in that organization, anyways. And whether you can say it's a curse or whatever it might be, they have their own set of challenges. But hey, kudos to them. Niners now, I believe they are facing another challenge this week. Which, who are they playing this week? Let's find out, guys. We're going to do this live, and I hate doing this live. I should have been a little bit more prepared, but hey, it is what it is. The Niners face the Texans. So, over unders 41.5, so they're not expecting a really high scoring game. It's going to be probably in the 20s, something like that. They have San Francisco favored to be at a minus 1.5, so basically a field goal difference, either or, for either team. So this is going to be the game of field goals. So Mr. Robert De Niro Pinedo, hey, this is your time to shine, buddy. But so that made my weekend pretty stoked. Also, my daughter played her second game on Sunday and won a phenomenal game, 4-3. Yeah. Kudos to her and the team. They were absolutely amazing. Dude, but that freaking game, and I'm sorry to kind of peel back the onion here a little bit, but I kind of want to dive into that match. Man, comp soccer sometimes gets really heated. I mean, we had one of our parents, unfortunately, who got really upset because of the lack of play calls during this game. There was a lot of grabbing. There was a lot of blatant fouls, girls extending their arms, which is a blatant foul. And it seemed like those players on the other team were intentionally trying to hurt our girls. They weren't really going for the ball, which is a bad no-no. And again, I don't know if that's the coaching that those girls are getting. I don't know if that's the coaching that they're getting from their parent, if that's how they should play. But the game was a little rough. Started off at, 2-0. Our girls, we scored like probably within the first 10 minutes, one breakaway and another great one, which was like another with, I think it was a cross. Phenomenal goals. Then they finally woke up. Then it was 2-1. Then it was 2-2. Then it was 3-3 at one point where it could go either way. And our girls struck immediately right after they tied the game. Within less than 2 minutes, we scored. We went up 4-3. Defense held it down. We have a phenomenal goalie who did her part. Hey, we did it. We did our part, and we came out with the W. So this weekend was a weekend of victories. We were 2-0. First game, we won 2-0, which we should have won 6-0, in my opinion, because we dominated that game completely. The ball just didn't go in. And then on the second one was just a game that was just really tight. I think that if we had if the game had been called differently, I think that we might have won by another score. That team was going to score inevitably. They have one really good forward, and they were really pushing for a counter, right? So, but anyways, it is what it is. Today's episode, what are we talking about today? Well, before I dive into that, I kind of want to chime in on a couple things that are currently happening right now in the state of California. And I know many of us are kind of following the news, and I don't like to get too political, especially such a change up from the previous episode when I was talking about the Sphinx and the pyramids and Göbekli Tepe and all that stuff. Today's episode, it'll be a little bit more normal and kind of dive into some of the things. But I do want to chime in a little bit into the news. The government shutdown, which by the way, is going into its 23rd flipping day. So if any of you out there that are listening work or have a federal funded job, my condolences and my deepest respect to you, the fact that you're grinding. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know your situation. I do not know if your funding completely stopped where at this point you're not even working. All I know is that the bills are coming. November 1st is just around the corner. Rent's due or mortgages due, and hopefully all of you have the means to pay that and keep your lights on. If you don't, shit, I hope you find the help that you need. I hope that you've saved as much as possible, and I really, truly hope and pray that this damn shutdown ends, because I know it's about to get tough. So when I went online looking at the current status of the shutdown, number one, we're on day number 23. So the Senate is going to continue to vote on these things and trying to figure out a resolution where both parties can come to terms with what they're going to do. And like I voiced my opinion before in another episode, the frustrating part about this shit is that A lot of us, a lot of you listening, are the ones that are directly impacted by this delay. And it's not necessarily them in particular, but it's more of the common person out there who are working 9 to 5, probably have two jobs, and are making ends meet. I mean, the cost of living already in itself is already tremendous and expensive and high as hell as it is. And now you take away funding where people need to pay rent, you need to eat. Shit. Well, here's the other kicker. Now, with the constant delays, now a lot of the food banks and a lot of these organizations and foundations that provide supplemental help to people from low income, now all that stuff is drying out. I mean, SNAP is on the verge of running out of money. I think they're going to figure out a way to make it happen, but shit is getting to the point where even government checks, such as food stamps, is basically gonna halt. Not because they don't have the money. Again, I want to reiterate that when we see a shutdown, the programs are not running out of money. The state and country is not broke. The problem is that the Senate, both Republican and Democratic Party, have to come to terms on a budget that releases those funds for those individual organizations to function. When they don't do that, there is no funding to be had, and they cannot tap into those resources. So how the hell they're getting the money right now? They have to find other means. There's other programs in the budget that maybe do have extra funds available. So they're robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically, at this point, to keep people fed out there. My mother-in-law, she helps out in the local church out here, and she is telling us herself that a lot of the dry goods are basically gone. I mean, before she would be handing out bread, she would be handing out some eggs and juice and other items like pasta and things like that. That's gone. At this point, the only thing that she says she basically has is just giving out veggies and maybe broth and a handful of things, not like before. And the parties that I feel bad for are the elderly, for example, that are living paycheck to paycheck, that are relying solely on their Social Security and disability checks, that need that supplemental food just so they don't have to go to Riley's or these other grocery stores and pay all this money for groceries that they can barely stay afloat. And that goes to a lot of us as well. I mean, and if you're going to food banks and things like that, like I know people even in my own family that had food stamps and things like that, and that shit helps a long way. I mean, it's fed a lot of us. I mean, I can honestly say that government cheese fed me. Now I didn't know it was government cheese. I just knew that it was a shit ton of cheese. I just knew that there was cheese always in the house, and we would have all this fluff and extra of all this other shit. But I never knew how my parents got it. But now that I'm older, I can kind of put two and two together. Ain't no shame in that. Absolutely zero shame in that. You got to do what you got to do. You got to hustle. You got to hustle. And I'm never going to knock somebody for trying to overcome their current challenges and try to put food on the table for the family. So kudos to you if you're doing that and you're listening to this. Hey, my prayers to you. God bless you. And I hope that you have the strength within you to continue. Don't beat yourself up. Do not look at the negatives. Look at the positives, and that this shit shall pass. The other thing on the news as well, which is a little alarming, Amazon is getting ready to do massive layoffs. Meta is getting ready to do massive layoffs. And again, a lot of these positions that are being laid off and being kind of sent by the wayside are AI departments. The irony of this shit, peoples, and listen to me when I say this, the irony of Meta and Amazon downsizing on these departments are the very departments that are improving and enhancing the AI. So basically, my people that are currently working in the AI have made it so successful that it's little by little, by the wayside, taking their jobs. You hear the irony of this shit? It's not the immigrant that we are deporting by ICE. It's not the mom that you are putting in handcuffs at a courthouse That's not the one that's taking your job. The one that's taking your job is an effing robot that you are creating. You are creating and generating your own replacement. Think about that. And then now, supposedly, Amazon is reinvesting, and so is Facebook, reinvesting into their AI platform and bringing in some hard hitters and recruiting really high level talent from different companies to come over. And again, when they come over, that basically what they're asking for is that they're asking for a sneaky way to get proprietary information on the competition. If you go from Apple to Amazon, I guarantee you some of that software is going to be part of Amazon that was also in Apple, and vice versa. That's the way they survive, and that's the way they just do shit. But the ones impacted again are the ones that are creating all this. And we're talking about, we're getting ready into the winter season. We're getting ready into Christmas. We're getting ready into the holidays, New Year's, etc. And this is when all departments and all companies start downsizing and trimming the fat. It's just the way the story goes. And unless you are part of a union, because even unions sometimes they're kind of sketch. Yes, they're designed to protect you, but sometimes the ones that they protect are the ones that are the laziest and actually don't do shit at work. The ones that always get in trouble, the ones that always get grievances against them. So them two ain't perfect. And them fees continue going up the more money you make. And that's just the way it goes. And unless you're at a company and your seniority is top tier, you're going to be the first one out when it comes down to cutting employment down and reduction in labor. You're going to be on that list, and I guarantee you, you're going to be gone by the wayside. So if you currently do work for a union, hopefully you have stacked your money well enough and saved it well enough that you can be ready for the winter, because shit's about to pop off. And if it's a very wet winter, for my people out there in construction, y'all know what that looks like. You can't dig, you can't excavate, you can't trench, you can't plant, you can't do shit. I think the only ones that could probably stay afloat are probably electricians, because they're working indoors, people with drywall, I think, and plumbers. But people that do excavating and all that, you're shit out of luck. So hopefully you guys did your best. But I'm looking at all this and I'm flabbergasted, because I'm like, fuck, dude, it's just getting worse. Every year it's getting progressively worse. And again, I brought it up in a previous episode before, and you guys might have heard it or not. It seems like we are either being awoken to this shit that's going on, or we're no longer falling into the narrative where we're being blinded by what's being told to us. One of those two is starting to happen. And is it because of social media that now we are more exposed and we're seeing different versions of different alternative forms of media that are not focus driven or party driven, that are not biased, that are more kind of like broad spectrum, where you actually see both sides? I'll give you an example to those that might not know. And because this is some shit that kind of flew by the radar and not many people know. Back in May, those that do know, you guys are going to be nodding your head on this one like, oh yeah, but they didn't make a big stink about it. Did you guys know that Qatar will be gifting, again, gifting, meaning giving, with, according to them, and this is me doing air quotes, with zero commitment from the U.S. to do absolutely nothing, they're building the U.S. a brand new Air Force One. Yeah, let that sink in. Qatar is building the United States a brand new Air Force One. If that doesn't raise red flags to you, I don't know what does. The fact that you have a country that's not the U.S. building Air Force One that is to be utilized by the head of our executive branch, the main honcho, the main chief, it's going to be their plane that's going to be flying out that individual. Just think about that again, dude. It's a plane built by Qatar that is going to be given to the U.S. Here's the other kicker, that they are trying to sneak this shit by you. There is no obligation that Trump will need to give that damn plane back. Because the way that it is written and created and the contract is made, it has been built so that actually the plane could stay with Trump even after he's out of office. So my dude is getting a plane with zero commitment. I mean, how silly or stupid do they think we are? I mean, if you guys don't hear a quid pro quo or this for that, I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not going to be bamboozled and being fed this BS thinking that there is no strings attached to that big large ass carrot. You got me messed up with that, because if I am building something for someone that's going to cost me damn near almost $1 billion, I don't care how rich and wealthy Qatar is, there is some underlining contracts, people, between them that we don't know about. So be mindful of that and do not fall into this whole lie of yourself. Oh no, it's going to stay within the States. Nah. This has got so many fingerprints written on it, it's ridiculous. And everybody that decided to sign off on it because the Senate approved this. The Senate approved it. The fact that they approved it is alarming. And it's a little scary, because the fact that we're giving folks this much power, man, I mean, I'm telling you, it is just utterly insane. I mean, the Senate voted down 46-50 an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act from Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, because the Minority Leader, which are Democrats, and again, it doesn't matter if it's Democrat, it's just people, folks. All right, let's remove the labels. They basically said, hey, nah, man, something's fishy about this shit. You know, any funding to procure or modify a foreign aircraft to use as a presidential plane? Y'all okay with that? Come on, man. Think about it. The decision has caused like a lot of concern with damn good reason. What is Qatar giving you? Bro, what are you guys getting on the back end? And again, these news go by the wayside that you and I don't even see it. Or we do, but it's only for like maybe 30 minutes, or a small little banner that you see at the bottom of your screen, or maybe on your feed. And you think it's just bullshit. You know what I mean? It's just like, dude, but this is legit shit. This is what's really happening. And we're being like manipulated in this one. And again, you know, you follow the money. Like, read up on the news. So even if you are young and if you are youth listening to this, listen to me. Invest. Every opportunity that you can, invest. Cash is going by the wayside. Everything's going digital. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm starting to notice that a lot of these companies are going Bitcoin and crypto. That's the trend that it's kind of going. So just be mindful of that and follow investors like Bill Gates. Where is he putting his money in? Because odds are that's where you might want to put yours too. Just follow the trend. But anyway, enough about the news, enough about the politics, because dude, we can have a whole podcast full of politics, and I don't want to make it about that. What I did want to make this episode about was talking about complacency within youth. So if you are between the ages of 18 to 25, this applies to you. And even if you are between the ages of 25 to 35, this also applies to you. And if you are a parent, I want you to be mindful and listen to these styles of parenting and their consequences. Permissive parenting. These are the parents that are overly lenient, allowing children to make their own choices without guidance. Is that you? Neglectful parenting. Lack of involvement or attention that leads to children feeling unsupported or unmotivated. Look back and think back, if you're a parent, if any of these fall within your personal style. Or if you are in your teens, this might be one of your parents. Overprotective parenting. Excessive shielding from challenges prevents children from developing resilience and independence. These are the kids that typically tend to go off the rails when they go to college because they've never been exposed to shit. Inconsistent discipline. Unpredictable rules and consequences confuse children, leading to a lack of accountability. Myself, I'm guilty of that because I feel so bad punishing my kids that sometimes I let shit go one time and I'm not consistent in the manner in which that I want to bring things up and I want to instruct them or manage them or delegate to them the right way. And I'm guilty of that. I'm sending the wrong signal. Avoidance of conflict. Parents who avoid addressing issues may inadvertently teach children to ignore problems rather than confront them. Sweeping things under the rug is not a good way to go about stuff, dude. We got to be better than that. Parenting, understand, varies widely across families, and I get it. With cultural backgrounds having a significant role in shaping dynamics and child rearing practices, you have to understand for the past couple years, the demographic, the makeup of the United States has shifted. And you have to think about that. It's been driven by immigration, socioeconomic changes, and the rise of single parent households. All this has triggered all these changes, all of which influence parenting styles. These changes bring diverse cultural, ethnic, and spiritual ideologies into play. And this is according to about 10 years ago, and I don't think nothing's changed. You have a higher increase of parents that are single. You have parents who are starting to be woke and having kids themselves. It's just different. 1/4 of children going back to 2014 lived in a single parent household, while 3/4 resided within two married parents, and these patterns varied across different racial and ethnic groups. Children can thrive in all family structures. The data indicates on that. On average, children residing in a single parent household face more challenges than those in a two-parent family. But that doesn't take away that if you're a single mom or you're a single dad out there that you can't get shit done. But just be mindful that you are already behind the 8 ball and the challenge is there for you. Culture is defined as a shared pattern of social norms, values, language, and behavior, which significantly influences parenting. As a result, parents approach self-regulation, such as promoting attention, compliance, delayed gratifications, executive functions, and effortful control. They vary across cultures. So what that means is that basically, according to the culture that you're in, your background, your ethnicities, you're going to get gratification. You're going to get your accolades based on your culture. And unfortunately, some of us that are adults, we just don't know how. And either we were guilty of being, or we were victims of being punished too much, where we wanted gratification all the time, so that's why we do it with you, or we just didn't get enough, and that's how we feel we need to teach you as well, so you can follow in our line of thought, and it doesn't work that way. Each parent has a unique approach to interacting with their child, right? By shaping their morals, principles, and behavior. So there is 3, 4, or 5 psychological constructs, right, that kind of make up what all this is. And if you're an authoritarian parent, these are some issues of concern, right? Authoritarian parents typically engage in a one-way mode of communication where they establish strict rules that the child is expected to follow without question or negotiation. These rules are rarely explained, they're vague as fuck, and children are expected to meet high standards without making mistakes. Errors are often met with punishment, Authoritarian parents tend to be less nurturing and maintain a high expectation with limited flexibility. Children and youth raised by this type of parent often exhibit a well behaved behavior due to the consequences of misbehavior. Additionally, they tend to follow precise instructions more effectively to achieve their goals. However, here's the drawback: this parenting style can also lead to a higher level of aggression, while children may also exhibit shyness, social ineptitude, and difficulty making their own decisions. This uncontrolled aggression may stem from challenges in managing their anger, as these children often lack the proper guidance. Additionally, they may struggle with low self esteem, which further hinders their decision making. You beat the kids up so much that they don't know what the fuck to do on their own. They don't know how to manage their own emotions, and they've been so molded into you making every single aspect of their decision for them and how to do it that they can't function on their own. And if they can't do it, they feel like they're a failure. They can't communicate because you've told them they can't talk back and it is your rules or whatever, and they can't bend. So they get pissed off and they act out. And oftentimes it could be one or two ways. They're going to be really violent, show a lot of aggression, or they're going to shut down and not say a damn thing. Now, again, that's authoritarian. This is authoritative, very different. Authoritative parenting is characterized by a close, nurturing relationship between parents and children. Parents set clear expectations and guidelines and explain the reasoning behind their disciplinary action. They use disciplinary methods as a supportive tool rather than punishment. Children are often encouraged to have input in setting goals and expectations, thereby fostering open, frequent, and appropriate communication between parent and child. This parenting style generally results in the healthiest outcomes for children, but requires considerable patience and effort from both parties. Authoritarian, you lay the rules, it's my way or the highway. Authoritative, you actually explain why you are mad and upset and what your expectations are, and if they fail, it's okay. But you both work through that. This one takes a little bit more time because you do have to be patient because, again, they're kids. And youth, if you're listening to this, which one of these are you? Which one is your parent? Because it might explain the reason why you act the way that you do. Authoritative parenting fosters confidence, responsibility, and self-regulation in children. These children manage negative emotions more effectively, leading to improved social outcomes and emotional well-being. By encouraging independence, authoritative parents help their children understand that they can achieve goals on their own, resulting in a higher self-esteem. Additionally, these children tend to excel academically and perform well in school. They're more independent. They understand more. It's a broader picture. You're explaining more of what your expectation is and the results in them doing that. You're not belittling their own choices. You're not setting grounds where it's your way or the highway. You're allowing them to kind of navigate and manage their own emotions. So differentiate as parents. Which one are you? Authoritarian or authoritative? Because there's a couple more that lead to some really fucked up shit. Here's one. Permissive. Permissive parents are typically warm and nurturing, often holding very minimal expectations for their children. They impose very few rules and maintain open communication, allowing their children to navigate situations independently. This lack of expectation usually leads into infrequent disciplinary actions, as permissive parents often take on a more friend-like role than a traditional authority figure. These are the parents that want to be your friend rather than your parent. If you have a mom or a dad that wants to be your buddy 24/7 and is not setting any ground rules, let me tell you what this could lead to. This is where shit can spiral out of control. So parents, if you're listening to this and you are doing this, this could be the long-term effects on that child. Limited results can lead to children to develop unhealthy eating habits, particularly regarding snacks, increasing their risk of obesity and other health issues later in life. These children enjoy considerable freedom, making decisions about their bedtime, homework, and screen time on computer and televisions. Such extensive freedom can foster negative habits, as parents often provide little guidance or moderation. Overall, while children are permissive, parents typically possess good self-esteem and decent social skills, they also may be impulsive, demanding, selfish, and struggle with self-regulation because they haven't had any rules. So the second they run into them, they lose their shit because they've never been taught structure. And then everything becomes about them rather than the whole. They become demanding because they've been used to getting what they want. They become selfish, only think about what they want, and they struggle with self-regulation, which means that they have no filter, they have no moderation, and no self-control. They do what they want when they want to do it, and that's about it. And you are their buddy, and you are supposed to support them in every step of the way. You become an enabler. So finding that balance, and was your parent that way? Because it might also explain why you act the way that you do. Why are you easily triggered? Why does your mom always want to hang out 24/7 and put on makeup and put on Botox and do all this and do a BBL? Why is she doing all that? If you and your mom are clubbing at the same time and both look the same age, there's a red flag. I'm sorry to say that. I'm going to call it what it is. Your mom can also be your best friend, but also be your mom. She's supposed to be your matriarch and guide you, not be alongside with you in a club trying to pick on the same dude that's your age. So if your mom is that way, that's a massive red flag. And that could also be why maybe you cannot have a healthy relationship at all. There is this other parenting style, uninvolved parenting. Uninvolved parenting grants children a high degree of freedom, as these parents typically take a hands-off approach. While they fulfill their child's basic needs, they remain emotionally detached and disengaged from their child's life. Uninvolved parents do not adhere to a specific and maintain limited communications with their children, providing minimal nurturing and having few, if any, expectations. Children of uninvolved parents often demonstrate resilience because they have no other choice and may be more self-sufficient than those raised in other parenting styles. However, these skills are typically developed out of necessity. Additionally, they may struggle with emotional regulation and exhibit less effective coping strategies. They face academic challenges and have difficulty maintaining and nurturing social relationships. They've never been taught that structure. I know personally, my particular parents was a mixture of both. I know the authoritarian parenting style very well and the uninvolved. And that sucks. So if you are youth and you are listening to this and these apply to you, damn. But there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Number one, understanding which one of these categories reflect you and your upbringing should let you or shed some light into why things are what they are. And again, some of these uninvolved parenting and some of these parenting styles change throughout time. And also there's other factors that could turn a parent that is authoritative and very well balanced into somebody that's really uninvolved. And that could be because of a tragic incident, a family loss member, addiction, coping mechanisms, alcoholism, people using gateway drugs such as meth, coke, or whatever the fuck that is. Horrible, unhealthy mechanisms can turn people into being really engaged and loving you, into somebody who's completely uninvolved and ashamed of themselves, and they just want to avoid you altogether. So if you're a youth right now listening to this, be mindful of that. All right. Because what I'm noticing right now that there's a lot of kids that are becoming way too complacent in what they are. And there is kids that are complacent not because of their own decisions, but because their parent is just not pushing them enough. And I think that that's where all of us need to kind of pause and take a step back. And I had this conversation with my wife earlier today, and I'm not sure if it's a demographic thing, right? I'm not sure if it's a an income thing. Like, okay, do people that are not making enough money, do they not push their kids enough because they're never home, versus families that are better off and are able to provide those kids all those opportunities? I don't know. That's the unknown factor. That's the one thing about parenting that they don't tell you. You don't know how to navigate this shit because you yourself is trying to figure your own stuff out. And some of us might be wanting to be authoritative, and we end up being completely authoritarian and being total douchebags. Some of them are permissive because maybe we're just a young parent and we see our daughter in their 20s getting all dolled up. You're already on your third divorce, or you've been single for so long that that's all you know, and you want to go out party with your daughter thinking that, oh, this is going to bring me and her close. That might work for a little bit short term, but it's not good long term. It's not very good long term. You at the end of the day still have to be the adult in that relationship. You're not going to shrink in age. You're not going to go back in time and match your child's energy, and the child energy shouldn't match yours. It shouldn't be your daughter being the adult and you being the child. There should be a balance. And I get it, that shit's rough, that shit's tough, and you want to do your own thing and be social and have a life, and I get that, but you also have to be a parent too, because these kids are going to be adults, and whatever you're allowing right now, that child is going to go ahead and turn it around and give it right back to somebody else. And that's not fair to them. And if we as parents, if we are guilty of enabling our child not going into school because they just don't feel like it, or, you know what, we went out all weekend, we just came back from Disneyland, today is Sunday, you know what, you had such a long weekend, why don't you take Monday off? There's parents that do that. There's parents that plain and simply allow their kids to dictate and delegate when they want to go to school and when they don't. There's kids that I know for a fact that they're telling their parents that they want to do the sport, but then they don't. They fake injuries. They fake, oh, I have a stomach pain, because they plain and simply, they don't want to do it. And the parents allow it. And if you have teenagers and you're a parent and you're listening to me, or if you're a teenager yourself, this is the time right now when you are in your teens about to go into high school. This is the time when you try shit out, the healthy stuff. Okay? I don't mean go out and do stupid shit like, do drugs and all that fucking nonsense. No, I mean, this is your time to try and fail, trial and error. There's a lot of programs right now in school that they can offer in a lot of local high schools that can streamline a path to you going to college for a specific career that might be related to medicine. It might be medical shit. It might be arts and crafts, whatever it might be. It might be media. Try stuff out, but push yourself. Because if you become complacent at 12 or 13 years old, odds are you're going to be a complacent 20-something-year-old, 30-something-year-old. And if we as parents, if we continue to allow that behavior, we are fostering and enabling that child not to push themselves and not to do shit. And that's not okay. You have to motivate these kids, because otherwise they're going to motivate themselves. And the way that they know how to do that is by doing stupid shit on social media, listening to dumb music and things that we find completely repulsive. Well, we're enabling that. We can't get mad if our daughter does not want to leave her room for 16 hours at a day because she's on her phone 24/7. Do you guys know the mental impact that it has if you are literally behind on a phone screen for an extended long period of time? and you remove that screen, it's like a drug. The kid's attitude changes, their behavior changes, they become introverts, snippy, attitude, everything else in between. We enable that. We are guilty of that. And the problem is that some of these kids befriend other kids that are not like that want to push themselves, that want to success, that want to succeed, that want to do other shit. But now because they're in their little circle of friends, that one off will be kind of standing out, being the odd duck. You're a teenager. There is a lot of social media pressures, and that child adjusts to that little circle of friends. You are who you hang around with. And I tell that to my daughter all the time. Never follow the norm. Always continue to be yourself. Because it's okay. Because for every million of other applicants that are applying for a job or a position, the ones that are hired are the ones that stand out. The ones that stand out are the ones that are being promoted. The ones that stands out are the ones that are being placed as leadership roles. The ones that stand out are the ones that people look up to for guidance that those other kids never got. So if you are youth and you're listening to this, you're listening to my voice, be mindful of that. Which one of those are you? Are you the leader or are you the follower? There's nothing wrong with flying under the radar. That's fine. You can fly under the radar all you want, but push yourself. Do not be complacent, just not doing shit. Because time flies with a snap of a finger. Next thing you know, you're 40, 30, 50, 60 years old. You're looking back and you're like, fuck, dude, what have I done? And you realize you haven't done shit. We as parents have to push these kids to be a much better version of who we are or who we were. But we have to do it the smart way. Not being authoritarian assholes where you're basically, it's your rules of the highway, which is the way that we were raised, some of us. And look how that shit turned out. Some of us rebelled, got pregnant, fucking left school or left our home at 13, 14 years old. Some of us were hit with belts. You know, we were physically abused. You know, not sexually, but physically abused, hit with a freaking chancla and all that shit. You know, Latin culture was raised that way. There's a lot of cultures that were raised this way. But we can't overcorrect and be completely passive and be like, no, I'm not going to be that way, and be one of those uninvolved parents that just lets a kid do what the fuck they want, because at some point they still do need structure. So let's be wary of that, right? So I tell my daughter that all the time. Right now, she's about to start going into high school. And I remind her of this every single time. The friendships that you make right now are great. But I guarantee you, as you progress and as you get older in life and you go throughout life, the number of friends that you once had and you could count in two hands, you're going to be able to count in one hand. Sometimes by the end of your senior year, you're probably only really going to have one good friend. And everybody else is going to be an acquaintance and a classmate. And then you're on to college. Because so many things happen as you get into high school. Our kids start developing their hormones. I start looking into their own identities. And this is the other thing. If we are too uninvolved and if we allow too much shit, then you have people or children who have mental health issues doing some of the stuff that we see on social media, and we scratch our heads. Well, what do their parents feel about that? Well, I mean, I just read off a couple of descriptions of some parenting styles. You can kind of pick one. I can tell you the permissive one is one. I can tell you the uninvolved one, but the permissive and uninvolved are the two major ones that typically lead to some of the shenanigans that we see on social media right now, because we want to overcorrect. So I end the podcast this way. If you, as a youth, do not be complacent, and I'm talking directly to you, do not be complacent. Your parents did not bust their ass for you to be in one spot, in one position, and that is it. They raised you to be a better version of themselves, and they believe in you, and they will push you to be that person. And if you don't have or did not have that parent, You're listening to this podcast, you have me. And I am telling you right now, you got this shit. You can do this. But you have to believe in yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself every day that you got this. You will do this. Do not fall into the narrative. Do not think of yourself or shame yourself for looking different, for feeling different, for doing things differently. We're all individuals for a reason. There's a reason why we all have different fingerprints and we don't share the same one, is because we're all individuals. We're all made up differently. So don't look at yourself like, oh my God, I'm different than everybody else. Good, you should be. And that's okay. Embrace it. Embrace your individuality. Embrace the fact that you are unique and not part of the norm. Don't be part of the cliquey shit. Be your own stuff. Be your own clique. Because you know what? There's other people, other kids, or other young men that think the way that you do. And when you find those individuals that think like you do, man, it is total euphoria. Because the humor will be the same, everything will be the same. And the second phase of this, if we as parents want to bring up and raise children in an effective way, let's understand what these 4 definitions mean of parenting styles and pick one that you deem that resonates with you. Some of us are guilty of being too authoritarian. Some of us are guilty of being too permissive. There's a balance in each one, and it's finding the right one. But my thing to you is, do not allow these kids to become complacent. Stir the fucking pot. Motivate them. Push them. Why are you in your room? Go work out. Go to the gym. Why are you on Roblox for 16 hours? Go do something. I'm going to sign you up for softball. I'm going to sign you up for karate. We're going to go for a walk. If you have the means to do that with your children, do it. Push them. Get them off the screen. Have them listen to podcasts like this one while they're walking on a trail or going on a bike. Be physical. Burn out all that energy that they have within them, because this is not going to translate well when they get older. And then you're going to sit there and look at your child. Well, I haven't done anything. Well, I don't know. Well, because you didn't push them enough. We have to be a parent and push our kids. Push them. And start young pushing them so they know you're going to push them. But push them the right way. Push them by supporting them. Push them by talking to them positively. But don't let them sit on their laurels and not do a damn fucking thing and just sit on their room. Motivate them. And if we as parents at one point were the uninvolved style or the permissive style, and we are just apprehensive and scared of losing touch with our child because we feel that if we're too strong to them, they'll check the fuck out. No, they won't. They want that from you. They need that from you. They've been yearning that from you, but the right way. Not the authoritative parenting style where you're yelling and screaming at your fucking child and punish them and shit because they bring a C or a D. No, coach, mentor, be a parent. Be the adult that you know that you are. And some of us are even guilty of this thing. We become 2 people. At work, we're great leaders. We know how to manage shit. But for some reason, when you come through those doors, at home, we lose all our shit and we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Let's be consistent. Let's engage. Let's empower our kids and the new generation. And youth, you should expect that from them. That should be your expectation from your parent. And if your parent gave you that and you were just a knucklehead who just didn't listen, that's on you, buddy. Look in the fucking mirror, because you're the ones that didn't listen. But if you are the receptive one now, I challenge you to open your emotions up, open up that Pandora's box of emotions and embrace change and demand that from that parent, that this is what I want from you. Do not be complacent. we were all born to be individuals and be part of society and function. And a lot of us are doing that very well. But some of us can do better, even parents. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I will be doing a Halloween special probably in the next couple days in preparation for the Halloween. So I'm going to be sharing a couple of scary stories in the next couple of episodes. It's going to be Halloween themed. And then come November 1st, I will be diving back into more parenting stuff. And some pretty sad stories and shit that I saw online that I definitely have to edit. And I want to talk all those out with you. I'll also be going on a whole different little topic on certain things. But anyway, that's more coming down the line. In the meantime, I hope you guys liked and enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, leave a comment, do whatever the hell you want with it. Listen to it on YouTube multiple times, put it on loop, share it. I'm going to put this on all social media platforms, kind of giving a little bit of a preview of what this episode will be about. So hopefully you guys have stuck around this long for these 55 minutes. Enjoy the rest of your drive or of your evening. I appreciate you very much. God bless and good night.